G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. This is the last installment of MerMay 2025. We did it, yay. Confetti, streamers, insert applause here. The crowd goes wild, cheering roars. I had a great time doing it. You know I didn't do this over 31 days. I mean, I've already exposed myself there, but we did do the 31 mermaids, and I think that's important. I've said this before too, but you know, the lower expectations you can have during a challenge, I think the better you'll be. Just kind of set yourself up for success there. Knowing what you want to get out of it is always kind of helpful too, because you kind of work towards that goal. For me, I don't know if I said what I wanted to get out of this. I always just love drawing mermaids anyway, so it's a good time. I want to get a good time out of it. But I usually use challenges as a good source of motivation, not to actually finish the challenge itself. I'm pretty confident that when I do these challenges, I will finish them. And then all of the ancillary things that go along with it, like the videos that I do for YouTube and the Instagram posts that I do for them, and then the collage club stuff that the mermaids ended up becoming for June. Like all of the extra bits, like I'm really not super motivated to do a lot of that, if I'm honest. that's all the work of it. But the easiest part is just drawing the mermaids in your journal. The rest of it, I feel like the motivation I get from finishing it. I always feel very proud of myself and very good about myself. Like the serotonin floodgates just release when I've finished a challenge, and I feel like that is the motivation I use to push forward. So it's really good. I mean, there are times where I shouldn't really put a challenge in my life because there's enough things that are challenging me. And right now, because I'm so busy with Virtual Voyage 10, our final workshop, I'm really pushing it with how much I'm trying to put into that workshop and how much time I have to get that done. So maybe MerMay wasn't the best thing to put into my life. However, the motivation I get from finishing this and feeling proud of myself is a drive forward, and more, it is better for my work life than if I had. So if I'm motivated from feeling good and really happy about myself, I can get more done in one day than I can get done in a whole week where I feel like a little unmotivated and a little bit just like blah, blah, blah. So it may seem counterintuitive to put a challenge into a period where I am super busy already. But if I really need that push of like feeling good and knowing I'm on top of it, that is ultimately more helpful to me. And it's just a weird way to work, I know, but you know, you got to work with what you got, and that's just apparently how I am. So I kind of tricked myself into getting it all done. We've already missed the first mermaid, but she was printed on Collage Club ephemera. She was a fairy drawing originally, printed on transparent sticker paper, and you can see I just used the line work to kind of redraw a little bit, and then I made some parts opaque and then left some parts transparent, so she had this nice translucent look to her. I really like that effect. This one was a pop mart bag, and I just used it as the kind of structure. I was originally thinking I would have a lot more of it peek through, but I got really heavy-handed with the gouache, so you know, it just kind of became its own new drawing. And this is, I guess, a good look at how when I've been using this ephemera, some of it is just changing a few things. Like the last one, I just moved the wing to another side. I think I added a little bit to the dress. I changed her hair a little bit, but ultimately the whole structure of the drawing was kind of the same. I just pulled it out. This one, I've almost redone the entire thing. So if you've ever felt like, well, I want to use ephemera, but I don't want it to look like the original thing, I just want to be able to work with it, you just kind of use the structure and the base. Like I've used this really for the proportions. I've used the head, the kind of the size of the head and the shape. I've used the body and just extended it a little bit into the tail. So this really does have the same kind of proportion as the original image, but it doesn't look anything like it. Even the eyes are kind of in the same place, but they're completely different eyes. So you can fully make it your own and know that right underneath there's a base that was something completely different. And this is what I would say is kind of like 100% transformative. You know, that mermaid on the last page, I would say, I wouldn't give it a percentage. I mean, I'd say it's transformative once you start working with it. But, you know, if you really wanted to make sure no one knew what was underneath there for whatever reason, I mean, I think it's fine. You can work with, especially all my Collage Club stuff, you're completely allowed to work with that. But, you know, you're transforming it. You're putting your own ideas on it. You're putting your own spin on it. And, yeah, it ultimately just becomes the base of something new. So that's what all my stamp sets are for too. Like I will stamp them out, and I will just use Like if the eyes are there, I might just make the eyes bigger, but I'll keep them where they are, or I'll use it because it's symmetrical. So I'll know that, well, underneath all of this drawing that I'm doing, there's a symmetrical base, and I can use those to kind of manipulate where I put my features. This one is so funny. It's really, really simple, but this is one of my favorites. And I haven't actually done anything with this page because I've been using this journal ever since I finished MerMay, and there's a lot in here already, just for my regular journaling life. But this one, I don't know. I'm like, well, now I have to save it for something really special to put in the middle, which I don't. I can put anything in there. I just really don't want to cover up the border, because a lot of the other mermaids, I have started covering things up with ephemera. I don't need to see the entire image in my journal. Like, sometimes I get really excited to cover parts up because I think, oh, you shouldn't do that, so then I want to do it. But yeah, I just had a really good time. She's very graphic, very bold, and it just was a border mermaid. I wanted to see if I could wrap her all the way around so that, you know, it kind of fit. Originally I thought I might do two, like one going that way and one going that way, kind of swimming like yin and yang. But I really thought, you know what, I don't care if she looks angular and crazy, I just want to make it one mermaid that does the whole thing. So that was really, really good. I really liked her. Simple and effective. You don't always need a good idea, you just need an idea, and then whatever happens, happens. Was that inspirational? I don't aim to be. I thought it was a weird choice that I made her eyes pink, but sometimes I am pretty lazy and I'll just pick up whatever's on the table, and I had that pink paint marker out. This one is probably the worst mermaid that I did. Really fun to do. Horrible look at the end. Like, not... Oh, Bianca's upset that I said that. Are you asleep? That's so crazy. She's literally laying down like she's asleep, but she just meowed at me. I think she's having a dream. Bianca, are you okay? Fully asleep. I wanted to fill that space, the negative space on the left, and see if I could just make a mermaid fit into there. And I saw that nose kind of peek out around the neck area. She looks crazy, but you know, it's effective. The line work looks really good over that modeled paint background. And I did end up journaling in those lines of her tail. This is another stamp and illustration process where I take the stamp, you can see I ghost stamp it a couple of times on that notepad, and then put the very, very light impression on the page. This one I kind of just drew over. Sometimes I will, like I said before, just use the stamp as a base and kind of draw over, you know, make new features, use it for the symmetry, or completely redo some parts of it. This one I just kind of drew over. I gave her a few little features on the face, like some eyelashes, I think, and I did it all in pencil, just I was feeling really, really sketchy that night. And yeah, I really like her hair. Her hair has this kind of wavy swoop to it. And I did something new with the tail on this. I actually don't like this as an image. I don't like the overall mermaid. I'm not quite sure why. And do you know, I think it has something to do with it being on that page, because there's so many other patterns going on there, and I find it hard to look at that page. I don't know why, there's something so off about it. It's fine now. I've started working with it all, and once everything's in the context of my art journal, things don't look so weirdly out of place or mismatched. And I don't mind a bit of mismatch, but I think we say this in styling for photo shoots. You either have to go all of the way there or none of the way there. Going halfway somewhere, like just putting on like a few extra necklaces, it doesn't really look right. Like it just looks like, did you mean to do that, or is that what you do? You either put on 100,000 or one. Like, you can't go in between in a photo shoot where we're, you know, styling something, because it just doesn't read as an intentional thought or a, you know, a choice that someone made. It kind of looks like it's been unresolved, like someone didn't think about it, because it's not an obvious and strong and bold choice, if that helps. So in this, it doesn't look like there's so many patterns going on, but there's not patterns absolutely everywhere. So it's like halfway full of patterns, and then halfway full of and there's like some simple draw. It just doesn't look all purposeful. So then when I keep working in the journal, I start adding more and more and more and more. It starts to look more purposeful, and obviously I don't get so overwhelmed by it. This is an old... She's really chatty. Hi, Bianca. I'm not talking to you. Hi. This is an old daisy drawing. Painted, it was on copy paper, and I painted it with gouache. but I just decided to repaint her. I actually cut up some of her dress and put it down to make her tail, and I just used that shape that her legs were to make the whole thing. The great thing about having a little gouache palette, as long as you hydrate it a little bit before you want to use it, because then it gets a little bit more pasty. You know, the more you're adding water, the more translucent it will be, transparent. The great thing about having a little gouache palette like that is that every time you need something a bit more opaque, but you don't want to get out all of your acrylics, this is such a great option. And most gouache, I'm pretty sure all gouache, I wouldn't say that, but I'm sure 99% of gouache is matte when it dries, which is just great for mixed media. I'm using this Pentel black brush pen because I just love how the line variation looks really effective. Like, it's very comic booky, but yeah, for a simple illustration, I think it just looks great. Love her pink, a black dot marker. You know, I love a dot marker. I just think there's not many other supplies that I need at this point. I feel like I've kind of got all the supplies I need to have a good time. I feel maybe this is what I've learned through MerMay 2025. There might be a few other things, like if I could get it. I think I would want like, I want like super glittery gel pens. And I'm not talking about like just a little bit of glitter. I'm talking like when I lay it down, it is just sparkling diamonds like that. I want something super, super glittery. So if you have that recommendation, drop it in the comments and I'll have a look. I've got the Pentel Sparkle Pops and I think they're all right, but I mean just like dazzling diamonds type sparkle, like glitter glue, but in a pen. Or even if you just got like the most insane glitter glue pen. I don't mind the Stickles little bottles, but I would prefer it in a glitter glue pen. They used to have a Crayola one that was, it was like white, but it had, I can only describe it as like AB crystal. What do you call that? Iridescent. It was like an iridescent type of glitter, flaky glitter as well. It was so pretty. And they're so hard to find. Usually I could only find them in a pack of Crayola glitter pens, but then, and I only wanted the one. And then the packs were also kind of an older pack that they didn't have in the newer ones that I found at all of the regular retailers. So I'd have to go to some like old like office supply store and just, if they had a glitter glue section and it was Crayola, they would have them there. Like, it was such a random find. I think the first time I found it, I was in the Caribbean somewhere and I was just at some random supermarket and I thought, oh, I really like that. So I got it. But yeah. Anyway, this one is really pretty. I think she looks like a children's book. Something about watercolor and a bit of pencil on top just feels very children's book illustration to me. And I just loved all of her colors. I thought they were all very, very pretty. So very, very, very much enjoyed this one. And that she kind of dips off onto the side of the page. I like that for the convention of journaling, because a lot of the time, you know, you want your journals full of all this beautiful imagery, but if you're someone that likes to write as well, you can't just have the whole page full of something. So to have something kind of dip into the page and then dip out of it, you've still got a lot of space for your writing. And you know, even though it's not like on that page because there's other mermaids everywhere, I think about like if I was going to transfer that image into another journal, like put it in Collage Club, I'd be able to just stick it on the side of a page and keep writing. And I like that. I was harvesting a few different pieces of Collage Club to make this. You can see because it's printed on sticker paper, I just stuck them together and then I stuck them down. And then I decided to take my white Posca brush marker. I believe I did. I've drawn in her tail. And then I take, yeah, there you go. See how it just kind of evens it all out, like it flattens it all out underneath, and now I can pull it back out on top, because that is also matte. It dries matte. If you want it more sheer, I sometimes dip it into a glass of water and then just trace over everything or wash over everything. But if you want it really opaque, you just keep pressing the button and just keep going. Yeah, I gave her a bit of a different hair, put a tail on her. I actually don't like this one. This one is the one I have to post today, and I'm not, I'm not super excited to post this one. Oh, my nose is going. I can hear the allergies coming in. I don't have a tissue. We're just going to have to make it to the end. We're almost at the end anyway. Yeah, I don't really like this one. I think I like the idea of it, but ooh, the execution was a little off. And I actually think it was, again, it was one of those things where like you just didn't go all of the way there. If you look at the proportion of the head and the head is ever so slightly too big for the body, and the head either needs to be huge on the body or with the size of the body. If it's just a bit bigger, it just looks a little bit off. Like all the proportions on this are just off in a way that I don't like. Because I like an off proportion. Like you've seen the necks that I draw. I don't mind it looking off, but it has to be intentional. And this one just looks like it wasn't. Because it kind of wasn't. I don't think too hard about these things. I don't really assess whether something's going to be good, as I'm putting it all together. I think that is also a part of the fun of it, is uh, just going for it. And then some of the things that you learn are problem solving skills. Like, ooh, I don't really like that. Or I thought that would be better, but it didn't work out. So now what do I do? And you keep going on that journey. This one, I decided to harvest some more things together, and I think I got this one right. Bigger head, smaller body. And then I went over it again. If there's one thing you want to buy from this whole experience that I could recommend to you, it's a white Posca brush marker. I think I did link it in the description last time, but I'll link it again for you. Just enjoy that. Do this little technique, see if you like it. Again, dip it in some water if you want to go a bit more transparent, but just flatten the whole thing out, veil over the top of it, and then just pull the features out that you want. You might want to work with just the face, and I wanted to work even with the hairline that I had on here, but I wanted to pull it up into the fish that was underneath, and I wanted to make the hair that fish shape. And I think this turned out really well. It's so interesting to look at, and it's something I would never have just drawn. And this is one of those techniques that I feel like, remember I told you about that collage and illustration type thing? This is a version of that. Usually when I do the collage and illustration, I'll collage something over on, page left, and then I'll redraw it on page right. This one is actually using the collage itself, veiling over the whole thing, and then redrawing on top of it. So it's a version of that because I've collaged it all together. Even the background, the fish that was kind of stamped and drawn on the background of the page is a part of the collaged image, but I've just drawn over the top, which is great. If you've got a lot of color going on, a lot of texture going on in the background, the pieces of ephemera you're using, you want to stay very close. Like I love the face on this one, so I was like, I want to make sure it looks exactly like the face I used. It's better to redraw over it than to draw it again. It's a little bit harder to draw it again and get something super close to the original. So consider this a version of the collage and illustration technique. And I've always said that those types of techniques will give you the most interesting results. Maybe not always the most aesthetically pleasing or, the cutest or the nicest, but they will give you some very interesting results, and usually things that you wouldn't have been able to think up in your head. So this is the final flip of MerMay 2025. You can just see how non-chronological this whole thing is. And this, I wanted to flip it for you before I did all of my journaling in here, so you could see what it looked like once the challenge was finished, and then what it looks like ultimately once I've journaled all the way through it, and all my little ticket stubs and my little bits and pieces. It's so funny, I'm looking at these pages and some of them are so full right now I don't even recognize that page. I wanted you to see what it all looked like before I ruined it all. And the reason I did do all of this before and not do it like day by day is because, like I said, I had to scan all of this so that they'd all be in Collage Club. And knowing what I was going to do, like almost all of that is covered up at this point. I wouldn't be able to scan it at that point if I'd got all my ephemera all over it and journaled all over it. So I wanted to make sure I had good, clean scans for you to use from Collage Club. And I've done all of that, and that video will be going out on the 1st, I think. So you'll see that in a couple of days, as well as the actual Collage Club files. I'm excited for you to get a hold of those. There's lots of big ones in there, like big images. So if you're looking to try some of that collage and illustration technique, or like putting it all together and then veiling over the top of it, you don't need the brush marker. You could just use watered down white paint. As long as it's a matte finish, you'll be fine. I just think the brush marker is convenient. Have a go with that. Use your Collage Club stuff for that. So this is the journal. This has been MerMay 2025. I've got a good bit of motivation from completing this, and I can't wait to use that to move forward into Virtual Voyage 10. Keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you around. Bye.
somewhere else to set me free.